Okay, welcome to our first out of three. I decided to group my classes into specific lines and areas and kind of going with, instead of looking at the body as a single part, start looking at the deep connection and superficial connection of how the fascia really attach from one area to the next. So for the ones that have ever dealt with dissections, doctors used to kind of really get a body and have it already kind of preset. So there were certain areas that were missing, and now they're starting to look at it differently, and they realize that those missing parts are gigantic missing links and literally linking the entire body from head to toes. So today is the superficial back line, and I have my wonderful Marvin here that's going to try to help us understand how those all connect to one another. Of course, everything that we've done before, you can still use, you can still have fun with any body parts that you feel is necessary. Like we like to say, wherever there is pain, you roll around town, uptown, downtown, and in town. But it's also nice to kind of feel the flow of a specific area, and also feel the differences. And one of the big differences for the superficial back line is literally how we grow up, how we rise up from being a little kid into our tiny little position from the back line. So literally it starts at the top of your skull. So you have the pulling up, and the first action of the baby is to have that arch into the neck, to look up to the world and start rising up. Then there is the sitting position, and we start having a little bit more of that bubble head and awareness of the spine to eventually totally be upright and having that wonderful length. It's all curves above each other. Even though the legs look like a straight line, there is no straight line in there. So we are going to start from the feet. And for the ones that have feet issues, plantar fasciitis is one of the main fascia problems we will hear about. And it really connects from the bottom of the toes. And there's this beautiful triangle from all the little dots of the toes to the point of the heel. There's no need to roll everywhere around the foot. You can really stick to that little triangle. We're going to play with that first. And then it goes, of course, to the calf muscles, and we're going to test all of that. And from the calf to the hamstring, you can picture as if I had four hands, it would be easier, but you have your hamstring and your calf, and they interlock with each other when you stretch your knee. So if you really want to get the full back line open, you got to have a full extension of the knee at times. It's correct to also have knee bends in certain positions, but then you will only stretch from your hamstring to the top of your head. You will not stretch from your toes all the way to the top of the head. Then it passes through, literally through the sit bone, and then we get the narrow part through the spine, and then all the way. Actually, it connects to the full head. So that's an entire area that they can cut out as one attached piece. So today I want to try to play around, starting from the bottom all the way to the top. Of course, the top of the head is not really something that we're going to roll out. However, you can kind of shampoo that. And that's something you can play around when you're in the shower and literally like move your hair and wake up and shift things into the skin and the skull. So to start up today, we will use our two massage balls in and out of the bag. And we will use a chair to sit on for the hamstrings. And we will potentially use a yoga block if you have one available. And then I have a chair here just also for in the beginning to be able to stabilize myself or to stop the ball from rolling away from me when I do the toes. So to get ourselves going, I'm going to do a little moment of breathing. So you want to get yourself standing. And just find an awareness of where the body is, and maybe an awareness of the flow of the back line of the body, which means from the back of my heels, my knees, my pelvis, maybe shifting my ribcage a little bit back and lengthening the back of the neck. So there's that pendulum effect, that hanging down and that heaviness and plumb line pulling you up and down equally. And with that feeling, just take a nice easy inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. And one more time, inhale and exhale. Nice. Our first area is going to be our feet. So we're going to do a little balancing step. One of the main amazing thing that happened with rolling is that you also work on your proprioception, on your sensory, to be able to feel what's going on in and out of your body. So before we start rolling the feet, let's do a little tester. Let's see how our stability really is. So for this, let me check where my little remote control is. I can get this. We are going to plan to flex basically your foot and then rise up on the other leg just a teeny bit and see, do you have the strength to just go halfway and then come back down? So it means you flex one foot and you just come a little bit up and you come back down. Now, as a dancer, I just want to go up and lock my bones and go to the maximum. You just want to go like that teeny bit and come back down. And you're going to feel that one side is like, oh, okay, I could stay there for much longer. And maybe because of an injury on the other side, it's a little bit more wobbly and not as, you don't own it. So that's just a little prep moment to see if we can create a difference. So we're going to start with taking one of the bowls, and I have different grip bowls now. So if you're interested in using the ones that are more rubber than the blue ones, I have those now available also in the studio. We're going to start with bringing the bowl right under. I'm going to start with my left foot today, just for a change. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. And we're going to bring the bowl really right under. So if I point to my fingers here, it's going to be like right in that middle point where you have your toes, you have all the bones gathering together, and you go into that middle point right here so that you can still have your heel on the floor and create a little pressure down. Once you have that pressure down, we're going to go a little bit in and out. So just stripping that line, the bottom part of the triangle. If you can picture a triangle from your toes, that's the white part, to the point, that's your heel. Then maintain that little bit of a sickle foot as if you're about to twist your ankle, and then flex the toes out and release and flex. I often do it with my hand because somehow those nerves are connected. If you do something with your hands, the toes might follow. Definitely that little guy does not want to flex as much. And relax. Then we go into the opposite side, and this is like your little pinky finger, your tea time finger. I'm going to try to bring that little toe up. And then release. And little toe. And release. One more time, little toe. And release. We are going to roll from one edge of the triangle to the point of the heel, then into the center, and then to the other edge, and kind of gather all those points together towards the heel. And because the fascia attaches right onto the heel bone, we're just going to go to that heel bone, little pressure down like you're taking a step, and we have a little bit of a shimmy, a little boogie of the heel onto the bone, onto the ball, sorry. Bone, balls, whatever. Nice. Then we're gonna go to the big toe. So the fascia really goes all the way to the top of the big toe there. So if possible, the ones that have the balls are a little bit slippery, I put my heel in front of it so it stays in place, and I hold myself onto a chair or a wall, and then I let my big toe be lifted up by the ball. So all the other toes, we try to bring them onto the floor. It's not easy. You've never done this before. It can be a very big stretch. And we try to relax the entire foot onto the floor and have that big toe pointing up. Now, like you pushing onto a button, you're going to push that big toe down into the ball and then relax. And push the big toe down and relax. One more time. Push the big toe down and relax. Now we're going to shift to get the 3 middle toes on the ball. Those are the forgotten toes. We think a lot of that big toe, but at the end of the day, when you really want to have a good step, they catch you and they push you back. So those 3 toes are really important. So give it a good extension, letting them be lifted by the ball. And again, we have a little pressure down and release and pressure down and release. And again, pressure down and release. Step away from the ball and just take a little moment to feel the difference, one foot versus the other. Like I have a duck foot on one side. Nice, and let's go ahead and roll the other foot so there's no jealous. Starting from the top part between all the toes, you can like hug around the ball with the bones, letting them hang on each side like a melted cookie. And we have our little stripping across, so going from little toe to big toe with a little eversion and inversion of the foot. Rolling across. If your stability is not as comfortable in standing, all of this can be done in sitting. It won't get as much pressure, but by putting your elbows or your hands onto your knees, you can create enough friction to wake up the fascia. Then we're going to stay onto the side of the little toe, letting the foot sickle, and we're going to open, fan out the toes, and release, and fan out, and release, and flex all the toes, yawn them out, and release. Switching to the little toe area, let's go for tea time. Little pinky toe going up for as much as possible. The intention is what matters. And release. And reach. And release. One more. Reach up, 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 up. And release. Come back to the center. A little easy rolling. Remember, everything is less is more. You don't need to feel the pain to get a reaction in your fascia. Going in the shape of a triangle, so really trying to stay within that fascia line, that plantar fascia. If you're ever interested, I can send you a nice little picture of that. Beautiful triangle, a very painful triangle when it gets really upset at us. Then going to the tippy top of the triangle towards the heel bone, just before the heel bone, creating a little pressure down, like you're going to take a little step on it. And then we have our little side to side windshield wiper, erasing the pain, erasing the tension. This is an area, if you have plantar fasciitis, it can pull so much on the bone that you can get bone spur, where the space that's being created by the inflammation, by pulling the fascia, allows the bones to come into place. We don't want bones there, we want soft tissue. Nice. Going on to our big toes. I'm going to do it without the chair so you can see better what's going on. Now on this side, it's a little trickier for me because I actually have a little bit of a bunion left over from being a dancer. So you feel where it's possible. Maybe I can't put all the bones down on the floor, but I try to find that relaxation into the bones to spread everything out. One toe is up, the big toe is up, all the other toes are down towards the floor. Now I'm going to press down, almost like I want to take a step on it, push, compress the ball with my big toe, and release. And again, press down and release. One more, press down and release. Going on to the 3 middle toes. That can be like a nice skin flesh release where you feel the skin between the toes and all the way through that line of the bottom of the foot being pulled, because it's an intense stretch right there. And pressing down with the toes and release. Press down and release. One last time, press down and release. Remove the ball. Take a little moment to feel what's going on. And just, without taking too much time, retest your stability, your awareness into your feet. So flexing one foot and coming up on the other and come back down. And then same thing on the other side. This is where for me, it really opens up a total different awareness, proprioception awareness. I know where my strength can come from. Our next wonderful step is going to be to go onto the calf. So for this one, I'm going to go down to the floor and have our 2 balls into the tote. What I now have also available in the studio are the yoga tune-up balls. They come into a little tote like this. Of course, we have our wonderful motion arts ball that come into the little bag that was created by me. Either or, totally fine, as long as the balls are staying nicely together. And we are going to go literally along the line of the bones here. So there's a lot of muscles, there's a lot going on. You can give it a little test by feeling like, how is my flex? How is my calf? We didn't really do a calf stretch first to check on where we are, but I kind of want to move along. We'll do our stretches after to see where we are into the feeling of the whole line of the body. So I'm going to bring the little bag right under the calf on one side. See if I can bring my video a little bit down. There we go. And a little closer. Move myself this way. There we go. And just having the pressure of your leg on it, it's almost like if you put a rock into quicksand, slowly that rock is going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. You don't really need to do anything. If you just let the weight work, the fascia has a reaction from that slow pushing into it. Then we can bring the leg inwards and create a little bit more pressure onto the inside. So internally rotate and externally rotate. And you might feel that if there are some little tensions in there, that you feel like you're jumping over a little cable. That's normal. Little unwanted renters into your muscles. And moving the balls just a little bit higher, we'll go more to the deeper part, or I should say, sorry, the thicker part of the muscle. And same thing, a little rolling in and rolling out. Now, if you feel like this is too gentle, I mean, everybody's body is different. There are moments where I just don't want something too intense. My body wants to relax. It doesn't want to be overstimulated. Then this is plenty. But there are moments where you feel like, okay, I really got to go for like a good run after this. I want to have my body like the flow going. Then you can easily bring the other leg on top of it. And then wiggle back and forth, and you're in charge on how much extra weight you put onto your leg and onto the massage balls to create the necessary relief. You can gently roll back and forth, so we go along the fiber of the muscle. And if it's too intense, just remove that leg. You can bring yourself a little bit onto your hands if that's comfortable enough. So you can roll towards the knee crease, but we're not going into the knee. And then maybe all the way towards the Achilles. And we just roll along that back line of the calf muscle. Nice. Removing the balls. Take a little moment to feel the difference between the two legs. It's a beautiful thing to take the time here and there to allow your body to have an awareness. I am the student of my body. I embody my body. Really trying to allow that flow to happen naturally. Let's go on to the other side. So same thing, starting a little bit on the bottom part of the muscle, and just starting with the simple leg press and allowing the leg to rock, I'm going to say. So we go first pressure onto one side of the muscle and onto the inside of the muscle, kind of rolling along each edge. And moving the ball a little higher up, making sure your foot is relaxed. I mean, if you feel again like there's too much tension and you can't let go, one of the beautiful tricks is to actually tense and release. So if you are flexing your foot and really activate the calf, and then you relax, you'll see that your body will then say, okay, I will let go. And again, flex. So that's always a little trick whenever I'm going to an area and you feel discomfort. It is your body. I'm not there to feel what you feel. So if there is too much tension, change, move around. Like I said, go uptown, downtown, around town. You don't have to be in the same town as me. Nice. And again, our little rolling from in and out, with or without the extra pressure. Woo, I just found a good little spot there. Maybe going a teeny bit higher. Then we can also allow the balls to just roll, the little train tracks of the calves. Nice. And again, take a little moment to let that flow happen. It should feel like you just got a nice, good massage in there. You're going to become your own massage therapist. Before we move on to the full fascia of the hamstring, I want to create a little extra space between my calf and my hamstring. So I'm actually going to take the two balls together and bring them into the crease. So this is where the muscles connect together. And so we want to go on all those junctions. Think of it as a very intricate Paris road. And we're going to, if you can, compress. So give it a little pressure. Pull the knee in with the balls right into the crease of the knee. Take a nice big inhale. Little compression. Make a muscle with your calf and your hamstring, and release. One more time, a little compression, and release. Let it flow. Same thing with the other side. Very gentle. You don't need to go for like, you won't be able to bring your heel to your buttock. That's just not possible there. That's not the plan. We just want to create a little extra blood flow in there. So we have a gentle compression. Inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale and release. Nice. To get into our hamstrings, let's make sure that you have a chair available or something to sit on. And we are going to use just one of our massage balls. So the hamstring is this pretty complex muscle that can create discomfort into your knee and discomfort into your hip and all the way discomfort into your lower back. So often I have clients say, yeah, but my lower back is hurting me. And then I check their hamstring length and it is seized up. It is totally stuck in there. So don't always blame your lower back. Go check. The lines that we're going to be working on during these 3 classes coming up, it's really going to show that the body likes to share. And one problem can often create another one. And there's a whole line to fix into the body energetically also. So we're going to bring just this one ball under the hamstring. And we are going to go along the line of the bone itself, which has a curve. It's not a straight bone. Nothing in our body is straight. It has a curve. And then we're also going to play with the inside line and the outside line. And you can feel those lines by if you dip your fingers on each side of your thigh. You can feel a little dimple. If you let your hamstring hang down, you feel where the muscle, you can hold it. And there's this little line, often is where the line of your pants are going to be, where there's a little hole, a little dimple in there. So you're going to want to go all the way to that edge, and then same thing onto the inside of the leg. So we're going to start with the center point, and very gently, just create a little pressure into it. Inhale and exhale. Now you can do a little pin and spin, we call this. So if you push down, but then you kind of turn your body a little bit, it should feel like the ball is turning like a little easy corkscrew into that muscle. Just it doesn't need to be very big. Again, the fascia reacts very quickly to a small amount of change. Then we're going to bring the ball a little bit lower. And we get more to that center part of the muscle, right against the bone, basically, and the core of that muscle, the deeper, thicker part of it. And you can maybe pendulum the leg just gently. I'll be sending out a little email with a little printout of all the techniques that you can use with your massage balls. And then it's up to you. It's like your little menu where you can go, oh, I'm going to do a number 1 with a number 3 and a number 5 today for the hamstring. And just play around with what feels the best for what you need today. And it won't be the same tomorrow or next week. Let's move the ball a little bit lower. And here, maybe we can create that little gentle compression. Again, we're not going for the deep, deep fascia. We're just going for between the skin, the muscle, and maybe wherever there's a little bit of residual tension. And then relax A gentle pressure down. And relax. And one more little pressure down. And relax. Moving the ball just a little bit lower. The beauty of this part of the class is you can do this while sitting at your desk. I will create an entire class of what to do at work right before lunch break. Shifting a little bit across, so you're jumping from one side to the other side of the muscles and letting the massage ball go a little peekaboo on one side and maybe peekaboo on the other, bridging over the hamstring. Nice. Let's go on to the outside edge. So it might mean that you have to shift your body just a little bit like the Tower of Pisa and create just a gentle pressure. Now here we get towards a little bit of the sideline. We don't want to go towards that full IT band line. We want to maintain the hamstring line. So don't go too far to the side, just a little bit. And you can just pendulum the leg so that we unglue the muscle from the bone. If the leg doesn't move the way mine does, you can also shimmy your body. I know it's not Friday, but moving the ball just a little bit lower. Stay maintaining that outside line of the hamstring. When you get to that outside line, there is more nerve endings that are going to be reactive. So just be gentle for your own body. And then one more little point, just a little lower. The hamstring, honestly, like Tom Myers likes to say, he's one of the therapists that does a lot of dissections of the human body to understand fascia a lot more. You can spend hours on your hamstrings. It is such a complex area. It is such a problem area on many. We overlock our knees, or we don't stretch our knees ever from fear of hyperextension. There's knee issue, hip issue, lower back issue, like I said. A lot of intricate nerves that pass all the way through. So yes, you can spend a lot of time on your hamstring. Let's go a little bit onto the inside part. So you might need to move the leg just a little bit into the opposite line. And here, if you can move your hips just a little bit back and forth, like you are cutting something. That's seesaw kind of feeling here, so that you move the ball just like half an inch back and forth. Then you can move the ball just a little bit lower. Now we get into an area where the skin is more sensitive. It's like anything on the inside of your arm, for example, the skin here is much more, it's thinner, it's looser than what's right there on the outside. So same thing happens to your legs. It might be more sensitive. If it is too much, you can always remove the pressure and just go with your hand and just take the ball. And with your own hand pressure, create that little spin on the skin to create the relief that you need. And then remove. Take a moment to just sit in the center and feel, is there any difference into the blood flow from one leg versus the one that we haven't done yet? Beautiful. Let's go on to the other hamstring. So same thing, starting from the middle part, top area, close to the glutes, but not on the glutes. The glutes are not really part of your superficial back line. That back line really stops at your sits bones and then really goes back to the center of the spine. When we get into the deeper and we get into the side, then we'll get a wonderful glute release too. Of course, if you need your glute release, you're always welcome to pause after the hamstring and take a few minutes to just do your glutes. Moving the ball just a little bit lower. Finding that little bit of a compression, almost like you want to stand up. You want to get yourself up from your chair and release. And a little tension into this chair and release. One more, gentle pressure and release. Moving the ball a little lower. Now I'm guiding you to move in certain areas. If you feel like there is one spot, you know what, that spot right before this one, I needed more, just go back to it. Drive around your own town. A little bit of motion just so that the ball is massaging you. Doing a lot of driving in town, around town today. Who knows what's going to happen? And maybe there's one more little spot, just a teeny bit lower, depending on how big of a difference. I mean, you can move like in centimeters, you can move in inches. It's really up to your own length of the muscle and needing to really erase more tiny points or bigger points. Then going on to the outside line of the hamstring, so starting a little bit leaning over and moving the leg a little bit in and out, or I was doing little circles just so I get a little relaxation of the muscle. Now, the reason we're doing our hamstrings in sitting is when you are with the legs stretched and you start rolling, you will get deeper into the sciatic nerve, and that can kind of piss things off more than we need to. So if we want to maintain the flow and the, I'm feeling great, it is not really recommended to do the hamstring rolling with the leg fully stretched the whole time. If you have sciatic nerve issue, you might irritate it just a little bit more. Going a little bit lower. Now, sometimes I don't have time and I'm on the floor and I'm rolling a little bit. I just won't go as deep. I'll just roll across the line of the muscle, but I won't do the full compression and getting into the nerve tension, just because it could get some tingling or numbness, and that's never what we're going for with fascia release. Moving the ball a little bit lower. Ooh, that's where there's some fun stuff sometimes. Starts to talk to you, have a little conversation, and see if you can maintain a relaxed breath, a belly breath, wherever there is a point that is maybe a little bit more burning. Nice. Moving on to the inside line of the hamstring. So tilting your body maybe a little bit, or moving your leg a little bit inwards. You can create your little pendulum to kind of get in and out of that line. Or you can boogie the body. I find that one is easier, so I can relax my leg, my foot is down on the floor, and I'm just doing the little robot dance here. Shifting one leg a little forward and back. It can be slow, it can be fast. It's really up to where you need to go for your body to agree to let go. Moving a little bit lower. Again, just a gentle. Maybe here you need a little pressure and release because there is a little knot into that area. Nice. Removing the ball. Take a little moment to feel where you are, how you feel, how the body is. And then go ahead and stand up. And this is also a good time if you are repeating this class or if you're just doing the recording, it's a good time to pause and just like walk around your house for just a minute or two and feel, how is the body feeling? How was I before? And how is that back line, that awareness of my legs allowing me to walk better? That's going to be my next classes as a group, will be walking pain-free, working on the malleability and unctuosity, I'm going to call it, of all our joints from the ankle, knees, and hips, and so on. So our next part is going to be the spine. And because we go for that superficial back line, what happens to the human body is that our posture is not fully upright. Stress, disease, fatigue, cold, all will bring us into that forward posture of the spine. So what happens in this area here is that basically you almost create too much space between your shoulder blades and your spine. There is this weakness and kind of that opening of the back part. So what we try to do, we're going to try to plow that back in place. It means that we're going to try to go from the shoulder blade and create pressure. And then with the balls, with the pressure, we're going to bring the flesh back to its center. So it's really trying to pull that shoulder blade and bring all that flesh back so that we get the shoulders to find their place back together. So to do that, we are going to have the two balls into the bag, into the little, where did I put them? There we go. And we are going to go all the way from top to bottom or wherever you need to, which means, let's see if I can do this here. We're going to lay down on it, and it's going to be right in a straight line like this. And literally think that you are back in winter time and you have this big amount of snow right here, and you're going to push that snow towards the spine, not on the spine, just towards the spine. And then you're going to pick and choose the different areas that you want to plow back to the center. So come lay down on the floor. And I'm going to start on my right side. So you're going to have the two balls lengthwise right next to your shoulder blade. Beginning, you have to adjust a little bit. So I have my two massage balls right here. And then I am going to press down into it. With the pressure, I'm going to roll towards the spine, and then I remove a bit of the pressure to come back. Press down from the shoulder blade, and then plow towards the spine. And you can do that a few times on the same spot. Exhale, plow towards the spine. Maybe move it a little bit uptown, so maybe a little higher up towards the shoulder area, and same thing, pushing down and then moving towards the spine. So the ball is here, and then it pushes towards the center. Now to find a spot between the shoulder blades, sometimes I allow my arm to be upright and unglue my shoulder blade, like let it lift off away from my body. And then I press down so my massage balls can go almost under those muscles that are stuck under the shoulder blade. And then I plow them, and then I let my shoulder blade drop back down. And I lift, and then drop the shoulder blade as you plow towards the spine. Then you can move your massage balls a little lower towards the bottom part of your shoulder blade. And you can create the same thing where you are going to shift a little bit towards the center, release the pressure gently. So I push a bit on my head when I need to remove the pressure. I'm pushing on my head so I can like support, and I'm not rolling back and forth. I'm putting pressure to really concentrate on closing the back of the jacket, as if you have buttons onto the back part, like the kids that like to put the zipper, put their jacket on backwards. Then going lower towards the lower part of the rib cage, and same thing, gentle pressure. And maybe now you need to put a little bit more weight onto your feet so that you can float the pelvis up a little bit, so you can plow the lower back muscles all the way from the side towards the spine. It's not a very wide muscle here that we're going for. It's just that little bridge. And then we go a little bit lower towards where there's more flesh. So again, it's not very big. So it's just a little wider than the balls themselves. So just rolling towards, not on the spine, just towards it, and release. A little pressure down. If this is too intense, this can be done against the wall. And release, remove the balls from this side. Take a little moment on the floor to just, maybe it's like this side, it feels like it wants to rotate. Definitely if you have scoliosis and other little funky dysfunction into the spine, as you roll out just one side of that back part of that small muscle area, long muscle area, I should say, you will feel some change into the posture and the alignment of your spine. Definitely when you're not standing, when there's more relaxation. I'm going to spin myself around so that I can see everybody, but you're welcome to just stay on the floor where you are. And we do the other side, the same thing. So it's going to go right into that length from the shoulder blade, shuffling, brushing away, and bringing the fascia back to the center. So again, if you are at the shoulder blade, you might feel like if you just let your arm be on the floor, the bone of the shoulder blade is in your way. So lifting the arm up, unglue that shoulder blade, let the ball take its place, and then plowing, pushing towards the spine, and then drop that shoulder blade down. And then again, lifting the arm up, unglue that shoulder blade, and then rolling. One more time. You can go a teeny bit higher towards that almost the upper trap area, towards C7 area, not into the neck, just still into the shoulder. Press down gently, rolling the dough towards the spine, and then release. And then bring that little pouch of the two balls down towards the rib cage, below your shoulder blade. Maybe create a little pressure with your feet to be able to shift and plow. Often this part of that muscle is a little bit more dense, depending on your posture or depending on
the area of scoliosis that would have some kind of rotation, this might be an area where it creates a little bit more contraction into the muscle. And bring the massage balls just a little bit lower, floating the pelvis up so you don't have your entire body weight on it. You're not creating dysfunction and discomfort, into your sacrum. Pressing down gently, still floating the pelvis, going towards the spine. Release the pressure to come back to the outside and moving towards the center of the body. Now, as much as we are on the back line, because of all the intricate muscles, you are actually moving and erasing some of the side line and all the way to the front line here, because everything interconnects, crisscrosses all together. So if you feel a release all the way to your belly button or even into your pelvic floor, once you massage in that part of the lower back, that's a normal reaction. It's an expected reaction. Maybe there's one more little point, a little bit lower, a little rolling. And again, if you feel like you need to stay a little longer on these areas, you're welcome to repeat this and pause. Nice, and removing the balls, and just take a moment to feel how you are flat on the floor. There is a different sensation. It's really where the body has opened up. Maybe there's more awareness of your lumbar spine being able to touch the floor, or the flesh on the side to be able to relax down and be more supple, be maybe a little warmer. And our next step is going to be our wonderful neck. For this one, you're welcome to stay on the floor. If you have long hair, I recommend attaching it, pulling it out just a little bit. The balls do love to attach and pull the hair, so that's not always super comfortable. So where we're going is really at the bottom of the skull. You have that nice little dimple. I'm going to try to have, again, the two balls into your little bag. And they're going to be hugging right under that line here onto those two little points. You can do this right on the floor, but it doesn't really give you enough pressure that way. You can also do it with the gorgeous if you have neck issue, or on a day where you might have a migraine. I'm talking to myself. You can totally do this with just the gorgeous, preferably on naked skin, and you get a nice kind of a spine correction. I'm going to say this is going to arch that part of the neck naturally, and it just really goes onto the superficial part. It's just going to move the skin. For today, we're going to try to do it with a little yoga block, and you have your little bag right on top of it. So when you lay down on the floor, you get that position where your head is a little bit tilted forward, and you have the pressure on those 2 points. It's pretty intense point, so just be mindful of that. If you need to remove some of the pressure, that's normal. Finding my position first. So you try to not go on the skull, but just below in that little dimple, like you could hook your fingers right in it. And that's where the 2 balls are going to be on each side of it. And just inhale and exhale. And instead of moving your head, if you ever have had neck manipulation, with Peter, for example. If you move your eyeballs while he has his fingers onto these muscles in the back there, those muscles will react to any eye movement. They are connected directly to your eyes. So if you look up, you create a different tension into those muscles. And if you look down, they change. So it's almost like you're saying yes, but just with your eyes looking up and looking down. Again, looking up and looking down. Come back center. You're going to look to the side and look to the other side and look to the side, look to the other side. One more time, look to the side and look to the other side and come back center. Then just flexing your feet and moving your toes up and down like you're tapping for music. And by doing that, the whole body has that little shake, that little mini rolling, that passive yes for your head. And then shifting your knees side to side, allowing the spine to follow a little bit. So you create a little bit more pressure from one bowl to the other, and almost a little passive no with the head. Come back center. Take a nice big belly inhale. Long exhale. Gently remove the balls and remove the yoga block. And bring the head down to the floor. Now, of course, you're welcome to stay right here and just relax and maybe even fall asleep if it's time for a nap. Or if you do this before going to bed, it's a great way to let that flow happen and have a beautiful night of sleep. But because I want to add one tiny little extra finishing touch to our fascia, you can gently bring yourself into a sitting position. And because the fascia of the back line of the body does not finish right where we were with the balls, it actually goes all the way through the skull. You can go with your fingers. So this is a beautiful thing to do with your hair totally loose. And in the shower, it's if you ever have a beautiful, a nice hairdresser, they do that for you. If you go with your fingers open and you move the skin up and down, and slowly you bring that little shift into the skin, a little movement all the way to the top of the head, following that back line like you hugging the skull, shampooing, and then come back down again. Just the back line. You might create a little shiver reaction, a little funky feeling all the way down your spine. And again, you can close your eyes when you do this. And then you can go from the line of the hair right on the forehead and moving it back. Now, because I'm concentrating just on that back line, I'm going just as if I have this big spike of hair here. I'm not really going onto the side, but you totally can. It feels amazing to move the whole skin everywhere. It's amazing how moving this part creates a different flow, a different feeling, a different heat. When there is fatigue or lack of concentration, or just that heaviness in the morning when you wake up and you have that puffiness into the eyes, being able to move the fascia, move the skin of the skull can really release and create a nice circulation and a different awareness. For kids that have struggled studying and concentrating, it's a beautiful thing to add on to it. Wonderful. Thank you so much for today.